Man, yeah, my questions are kind of phrased for, now that I realize they're phrased for people who are outsiders who come in.
Yeah.
Let me try and rephrase this one. So the second question was, what is it like getting settled in New York? What are your biggest challenges and how do you overcome them? I guess for a native New Yorker, I guess we'll say it's certainly a leap of faith to step outside the nest of where you were raised, what you think your parents want for you. So once you kind of made that decision, obviously you had your mentors, and you start to just live on your own and really go for it. What were your kind of biggest challenges, and how did you overcome them?
I think the biggest challenges I faced, when I first, is it okay if talk about when I first started to film? Like,
Yeah, whatever that triggers for you.
yeah, sure. I guess the biggest obstacle I faced when I first started to work in film was balance, because I was grateful enough to have a bunch of opportunities where I was a senior in high school, or I was either a senior or sophomore in high school, and I had the pleasure of like getting internships on different like TV shows and at different nonprofit film organizations, where I got to learn a lot from people. So I think the problem for me was balancing my time with being on a set for 8 hours a day,
Hmm.
and balancing schoolwork was truly hard for me.
Hmm.
Um, Another obstacle I faced was I lived with a mother who was not very supportive of my decisions. She didn't see the purpose of me working in a field that she deemed no better than being a painter. She thought if I were to work in this film, I she thought if I were to work in this field, that I would end up homeless and not making a profit, or not with a salary or no benefits. Um, and she really didn't see the purpose. My mother is also someone who does not see the purpose in media in general, because she doesn't watch TV, she doesn't watch movies. That's the kind
Except
of
for
individual.
TMZ.
Yeah, she doesn't even watch TMZ, but she knows what it is, because like um she really got into the whole TMZ idea after like a few years of me working in film. She was just like, you should go follow your dreams there, I guess. But yeah, the biggest problems I faced was a mother who did not really necessarily support me in the decisions I was making. And
And she was
I,
a major, obviously she's your mother, so like she was a major support system,
yeah.
and yeah. Okay, so and then cool, yeah. So balance, yeah, it was balance, and then your mother. So what was like, what were the major things that like in leaving that support system, or the things you had to find outside that support system? Were they more so emotional? Were they actually kind of materialistic things, or um, what were some of those obstacles there?
Um, I think despite all the despite all the obstacles I faced, I often found myself looking for that support elsewhere. I had a bunch of mentors when I was in high school, so I had people to turn to when I felt like sad because my mother didn't agree with the choices I was making with my life. And I had older alumni in my program who were working in the film industry that I could see that yes, this is a viable option. Yes, this can work for some people, and yes, you can be happy while doing it. So that really helped me to see a goal in mind and just go and get it. Besides that, when it came down to like other things, I I realized while working on like shows and movies and stuff like that, that I myself wasn't too organized, and I had to restructure the way I work on things. And I had to like, since I was a part of this program, I had to like ask for that help to be like, hey, I want to be a better PA. Hey, I want to be a better editor. Hey, I want to be a better filmmaker. What can I do? And they provided me with those steps. Not like a how-to guide, but it was like, hey, I've been in your shoes before. Here's what I did. How can you take my experience and the stripes I've experienced and adjust them for yourself, so that you're not only achieving something, but you're learning something at the same time?
Yeah, no, I get you. Like, piecing it together
Yeah,
as you go along, and then like seeking out mentors and
yeah,
people who take an interest in you,
yeah,
and you're looking out for that. That's definitely something that, you know, some people are just at a job and they just kind of, you know, oh yeah, that's my boss and they're cool, and you're like, no, and then you're like, no, that's an opportunity to like learn
Yeah.
if they really take an interest, because it's really hard to find people who care about us here below, right? And
Yeah,
yeah.
that's especially a good point because at the end, when I first my first one of the second jobs I ever had was I was an intern for a an an executive producer for the show Elementary, and he didn't really know what he wanted to do with me. He had me come in once a week, and then he's like, "Hey man, I you can read these scripts if you want, and you can waste like maybe 4 to 8 hours doing that, or if you tell me what you want to do, I can help. I can facilitate that, so you can go down the path that you want to go." And I told him, "Hey man, I'd love to be on the set of a show," and that's how that started for me.
Mm,
And when that happened, I just became one of the PAs on the show. The PAs would always be like, "Oh, we're gonna do this and that." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm an intern. It doesn't matter what I think, what I say, what I do." And they're like, "No, you're doing the lockups. You're here. You're moving this. You're moving that. You're doing what you can on this union job. So
yeah.
you are as much as a PA as we all are." And I was just like, "Wow!" And that job opened a lot of doors for me.
Nice. Yeah, I forgot about that. We are both of our first jobs were elementary.
Yeah.
You were season 6 though, right?
I was like so it wasn't my first job, but it was like maybe my second or third job.
Okay.
And
What season were you though? I
I
forget.
think I was like season I want to say 4,
Four,
5, and
five.
maybe
Yeah.
6 because I worked there for a few years.
Okay. Yeah, I was the last one in
Maybe
season 7.
maybe it was 5 and 6. Those were my 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a well-oiled machine. That was a
Yeah,
good
yeah, no, for
experience.
sure.